Hey, go to heyguy.co. That way you will know when the Hey Guy hats and the 262 very relevant hats are ready for sale. You go to the heyguy.co, you click on alert me, and then you'll know. Plus, you can get in touch with me that way. You can send me a message, an email, a mailbag question, heyguy.co. Sign up, and you will be the first to know when hats go on sale. We're aiming for early August. Here's what I think is about to happen with Brandon Aiyuk. I think Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers are going to do a contract. I think they're going to do a contract for one main reason. Because Brandon Aiyuk wants to. And they want to. And ultimately, they're going to compromise. You know, there was a photo of Brandon Aiyuk on a private jet the other day, flying to the Bay Area to meet with the 49ers, which he did. I haven't seen a photo of him flying back yet. Have you? I think he's hanging around. And I think he's hanging around in part because his core, he's a good dude who wants to do the right thing, who thinks that if I show the team that I am the guy they think I am, that they know I am, if I show up and I tell them I'm the guy that wants to be here, if I work out the facility, if I pop in, if I communicate with them in a way that most players in this situation don't communicate, then they're ultimately going to soften just a little bit. And the Niners know that the odds that they hit on another Brandon Aiyuk from a skill standpoint, plus the kind of guy he is standpoint, that's not that likely. And so they're going to compromise a little bit too. We're going to see compromises between two people who ultimately want to be together. Now, when is that going to happen? Well, we can take some from Deebo Samuel's situation 2 years ago. Let's look back. Last year, there was like a internet documentary that came out about Deebo. And there was some footage from his conversations with his agent about the negotiations as they were going on. And if we watch that video back, we can see a little bit of the timeline unfold. And his agent, Tory Dandy, says something very interesting about negotiating, not just with the 49ers, but just negotiating. So I'm going to play this now. Okay. Watch it or take a listen to it.
I actually was kind of anticipating them kind of being a little lower because sometimes teams want to do that, creep their way up throughout negotiations.
I feel like they came out like that because the short period of time that we got.
Yeah.
And practice starting here in about 13 days. So,
yeah.
Not spending a lot of time with Trey this past summer. I kind of wanted it done then, but you know what I'm saying? Everything don't work out in your favor, and we still working, and you know what I'm saying? We still gonna make a push.
I wanted to get them to the point where they say, listen, man, we ain't got no more money. And they basically saying, take it or leave it. That's ultimately what we're trying to get to with this negotiation.
Right.
When we get to that point, then you got a decision to make. Hey, I'm going to take this or what I'm going to do then.
So in that clip, Deebo Samuel says camp starts in about 13 days. All right, so let's do some rough guessing here. The 49ers reported to camp in 2022 on July 26th. Deebo ultimately signed his contract on August 1st. So when Deebo says camp starts in about 13 days, that could mean a couple things. It could mean, well, that's when the pads come on. Yeah, the vets report on July 26th, but the pads, they come on around August 1. It could mean, well, actually the rookies are going to show up July 23. It could mean that. I doubt it means that. I mean, to me, he's either referring to the report date or like when practice really, really starts. But since we know the report date, July 26, I'm going to use that. So if we go 13 days back from July 26, that would be July 13. This year, the Niners will have their veterans report on July 23rd, 3 days earlier by the calendar date than in 2022. So 2 weeks before that, 13 days before July 3rd, is July 10th. So for Brandon Aiyuk to be at that spot about the Deebo was then, to get a deal done by, the second week, first week of practice, he would have to have that same meeting with his agent on July 10th. Now, what I didn't show you there was part of that clip. The agent slides. He said, "We got an offer from them," and he slides a piece of paper to Deebo, and Deebo's eyes light up. If Deebo didn't have an agent, he would have signed that contract right then and there. And it took 2 weeks from that point to get a deal done. I think it's safe to say that Brandon Aiyuk has not had a piece of paper slid in front of him that made his eyes light up, that he would sign if he didn't have an agent telling him, let's just pump the brakes. This takes a little time. Let's just let things play out. Maybe that's part of Aiyuk's frustration. He knows, we know, Deebo has been, in his ear talking to him, advising, hey, be patient. Deebo's talked about this, his perspective on how it went then and how that could affect, Aiyuk now, what he learned, all that sort of stuff. Maybe Deebo told him, like, hey, man, don't worry. About a month, about 3 weeks, 2 weeks before you're going to get the deal done, you're going to see a piece of paper. It's going to have a huge number on it. And maybe Aiyuk didn't see the number. Maybe Aiyuk did see the number a month and a half ago and he liked it. And then a few things changed and he changed his mind and now the number's changed. But if he's going to sign a deal, let's just say he's going to sign around the time that Deebo did in 2022, Aiyuk's equivalent signing date is July 26th. So it's a month. It's basically exactly a month away. Okay. The first preseason game this year was August 10th. That year was August 12th. So these dates are all pretty similar. We're just subtracting like 2 or 3 days and then guesstimating what it might look like from an Aiyuk standpoint. Right. And there was plenty of frustration for Deebo, but it's funny to watch that clip. And Deebo was so happy because Deebo's seen a number and Deebo realizes this is getting done. I'm going to be happy. But I think to go back to the clip,
I actually was kind of.
Let me go back and play this other part. Actually, how about the part about Deebo saying, I wanted to spend more time with Trey this summer. Little did that version of Deebo know what was about to happen. But let's also listen back to his agent's negotiation kind of tactic.
To get them to the point where they say, listen, man, we ain't got no more money. And they basically saying, take it or leave it. That's ultimately what we're trying to get to with this negotiation. Right.
Okay. So the agent says, we want to get to the point where the Niners say, we have no more money. This is our final offer. You guys have to take it. So if this is 13 days away from practice starting, right? If this is July 13th, 2022, 2 weeks before Deebo signs his contract, that means that his agent feels that 2 weeks before he signs the deal, they still don't have the 49ers best offer. They have an offer that Deebo kind of likes, but they don't have the best offer yet. And so if that's the case, that means that we're still about 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away from Brandon Aiyuk seeing the 49ers best offer. That's possible. Right? I mean, like, that's the timeline. Now we don't know exactly what this offer was 2 weeks out from camp, and we don't know how much this offer changed into the next offer. But essentially what we can kind of pull out of this is they didn't get the Niners' best offer yet, and that's 2 weeks before he signed it. So, if Brandon Aiyuk got the Niners' best offer a couple days ago, then maybe he's still 2 weeks away from signing it. I don't think he got the Niners' best offer. And I do think he's taking a little bit of a different tactic than Deebo did. And maybe it's because of the advice Deebo gave him. Hey, I'm going to handle this a little bit differently. Maybe it'll go differently. And I think, and I said this the other night, I think that's probably a little bit of his frustration. It's like, guys, I'm handling this the right way. So let's skip all the BS where I have to wait another month for you to give me your best offer. And just give me your best offer now. Tell me this is your final offer and mean it. But this ain't the Niners' first negotiation. And you don't get the best offer until your back's against the wall. But anyway, I saw that. Justin, listener of the show, viewer of the show, sent me a DM so remember this? And I remember I started watching, it was the whole video. I started watching the whole video and then went to some of those agent conversations, and it was good. I mean, I would love to see. You don't get to see that stuff beforehand, but seeing that stuff after the fact is really interesting. And part of the other takeaway from watching that is, at that time, 2 weeks away from Deebo actually signing the deal, all of our conversations would have been about how frustrated Deebo Samuel was, how annoyed, how he's got to be pissed. This has to be wearing him out. You watch these clips that came out a year after the fact. Deebo looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. He's so happy. He's so loose. He's in good shape. He's enjoying it. Hey, I trust in you, my agent. You tell me, man. I'll do whatever. So we have maybe a little more insight that's not exactly that's not Aiyuk's state of mind right now. But like I said at the beginning, let me know when we see a clip of Aiyuk. Somebody send it to me. I know it'll pop up. Send me when you see the clip of Aiyuk on a plane again. Okay. Has he left yet? Did he just come in for one meeting? Was he at Levi Stadium today again? Was he? What's he doing? Where's he at? All right. We got 2 weeks before he gets the offer that he'll sign 2 weeks later, if we go by Deebo's timeline. I think this deal's getting done. I think it's what's best for him. I think it's what's best for them. And so they'll compromise. All right, let's get to actually, before I get to some of your comments, I also want to tell you about Circa Sports. Circa Survivor Contest, Circa Million. 2 different contests. Circa Survivor, $10 million in guaranteed winners. You pick a game a week, not against the spread, straight up. Whoever lasts the longest or whoever's lasts the longest wins. Last year, 4 winners split $9.2 million, 2.3 each. Largest legal football contest in history. That's Circa Survivor. Circa Million, $6 million guaranteed minimum pot. You pick 5 games a week against the spread. Whoever has the best record at the end wins. Whoever finishes dead last, also $100,000 to the. I mean, you could enter that contest with the intent of having the worst entry in the whole contest to try and win $100,000. That's 5 games a week against the spread. Circa Survivor, Circa Million. Okay, you got to enter in Nevada, and then you can play from anywhere. You go to Nevada, you go to Circa in Vegas, you go to Circa in Reno, or you go to Circa in Henderson. You sign up, and then then it's on. Go to Circa, then you go back home and you play from home, and it's legit. So enter Nevada, play from anywhere. Circasports.com. Check it out. Circasports.com. Click on contest. Great to have them advertising on the show. That contest will close, or your entries close at the beginning of September when the football season begins. All right, let's get to some of your commentos. Disbanded comment. I think these receivers are still the biggest divas in the league in 2024. Yeah, receivers. Done. John says Niners ownership likes to say they won negotiations. Not publicly, they don't. This happens a lot. I think they're aware of it. Parag, Marathe, sensitive. I mean, they're all sensitive. It's not in the Niners' benefit. It is in their benefit to win. It's not in their benefit to win in such an obvious way that it offends the players and the agents that they do the deals with, right? You kick somebody's ass in a negotiation when you're buying their property, you feel great. There's no negative to that. You won, they didn't win, you got whatever. Or when you're selling, or when you are hiring somebody, there is a negative to dominating them financially when they work for you. So if you want to maximize the money you get, you want the person to maximize their abilities. There's a reason you're working with them. You're hiring them. So it gets a little complicated in that way. You want to win a deal, but you also want them to feel like they won a deal, right? Those are the best deals. And when you're doing a deal with a partner, they're not it's not an enemy here, right? Aiyuk and the Niners, they're not enemies. They're on opposite sides of this negotiation, but ultimately, if the Niners feel like they lose the deal, then they're going to find a way out of it. If Aiyuk feels like he loses the deal, maybe he'll be disgruntled. Like if you're Aiyuk, you don't want to do some deal that the Niners are trying to get out of this first second they can because you're not living up to the contract. Hit that like button. Hey, I thought this was a Raiders pod. Comment. Where's the beef? What are you talking about? Coming up, this may be the last live show for a couple of weeks, but don't make the mistake of thinking, I think the content's going to get better in the next 2 weeks, actually. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's going to be a little different in the next 2 weeks, for the next 2 weeks, starting on Sunday. And I think you're going to really like it. I have been recording some interviews and shows and conversations, and I think you're going to really enjoy them. I'm going to Portugal on Sunday, 4 p.m. direct flight, SFO to Lisbon. Very excited about it. Not been before. Lisbon, Porto, Douro Valley. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. And I'm not just leaving you with nothing. I have put in the work over these last 2 weeks. And so I've got a bunch of shows that you're going to, podcasts and videos that I think are going to be really good. I think you're really going to like them. I'm not going to tell you yet who they're with, but I'll tell you this. It's a bunch of really smart football talking people. And I'm confident if you like me by myself, maybe you don't prefer me by myself. But if you like this, then I guarantee you're going to like what's coming up the next 2 weeks. In fact, I think you're going to like it so much that when I come back for real, you're going to want me to keep doing you're going to want me to go back on vacation and post more of the other stuff. I think. Here's 49er Rob with a comment. FU asterisk K, BA and his blackmail and trash talking. Trade. That's what's funny about this to me is like, this is how it always goes. Player asks for more money. Player says, play some of these public games. And some people will say, we don't want you anymore. Some of you may disagree. Niner Rob, you may disagree with this. And Aiyuk has not been perfect. I did a thing the other day. He's fighting two battles on two fronts. It's not productive for himself. But my guess is if you went and talked to John Lynch, even though he doesn't love having to deal with all that stuff, he'd say, I haven't had too many guys, quote unquote, about to hold out that showed up to the facility multiple occasions that had a face-to-face meeting with me. So in a weird way, as many signs as there have been that he's not happy or not handling it well or whatever, I think he's actually probably handled it better than sometimes a lot of these can go. I bet they're frustrated. I doubt the Niners feel this way because there's been a lot of communication. And I also think this is the beauty of John Lynch. Like, he gets it. He respects players. He was a player. He's on the other side now. But, nah. He's a dude. He's their kind of dude. Comment from Eric. 4th of July in Lisbon is crazy. What? Why? I saw that the 13th or the 14th of July, something, in Lisbon is crazy. Why is the 4th of July in Lisbon crazy? I'm going to Google that. I'm going to be in Lisbon on the 4th of July. And yes, they have a bridge that looks just like the Golden Gate Bridge. Same people that made it. Comment, ever since Guy's voice came back, I can finally listen again. You and me both. Comment Ernie, there's a reason the period from the day after the Super Bowl until the first day of the preseason is called the lying season. James, comment, fans always take labor negotiations out on the players, opting to side with billionaire owners over millionaire players because the players leave more often than the teams. I also think fundamentally, like, we generally talk about sports from the, we talk about it like we're the GM. Like, we talk about drafting, we talk about free agency, we talk about demoting a player, promoting a player, benching this quarterback, making this guy the guy. So we talk about sports from a management standpoint, generally. Like, should we do a trade? Should we fire our coach? Should we hire that other coach? Should we tank the season? Right? That's how we generally talk about sports. So when you talk about sports that way, it's like, you're talking about the team. You talk about players. It's like, should he have taken that jab step? Should he have? It's just not the way you play a video game. You play as the team. You throw the ball and you become the receiver. You're the quarterback, then you become the receiver. You hand it off, you become the running back. You get to be everybody. The players can only be themselves. So I think that's the other part. I think it's the other part of it. I mean, just the fundamental, right, is you're a fan of a team and the players come and go and the team stays the same for the most part. That's also part of it. So I always think it's a little disingenuous when people are like, why you sided with the billionaires over the millionaires? Why are you signing with ownership? That's the boss. That's the man. Like, most of you have a boss. You work for a company. Aren't you the good guy and they're the bad guy? It's like, yeah, but that's not sports. Like, you play fantasy football. You play fantasy sports. You're the boss. You move the players around. I was coming up with a show I was talking the other day and about, trying to think of like an analogy. And somebody left a comment that said, well, it's like, if you're not trying to sell your home. This was a response to Aiyuk saying, I thought they weren't trying to trade me. You're not trying to sell your home, but if somebody comes up to you and makes you an offer you can't refuse, that's the same situation the Niners were in. And I thought it was a good analogy. And then another commenter came in. I'm starting to I do like the YouTube comments, by the way. I like to get in there when I can. And my hope for the YouTube comments, for all of you that watch and comment, is that it can be what you'd like Twitter to be, but Twitter can't be because now it's too big. What I'd like it to be is what any relationship with like your friends is, which is if you make fun of your buddy, if you talk a little shit to your friend or whatever, they take it, they assume the default is positive, not negative. A lot of the internet, somebody makes a comment to you, they may say it like messing with you because you feel like you got a rapport, but everyone's default more often than not is to take it a negative way. So when it comes to YouTube comments, what I say to you is I will always assume it's positive. I always assume you're messing around. Like, we're messing with each other. We're talking a little trash. We're having a good time. That's it. That's what I would encourage everybody. So and that's how this conversation played out. So somebody came in and said, well, it's not the same as your house because your house is a thing and the players are people. And that's true. The players are people, of course. But there's a salary cap and their contracts are things that are attached to the people. And that's a huge part of why we have the conversations we have about players, right? If every player cost the same, it was $5 for a receiver and $10 for a quarterback. But yeah, I'd rather have the better $5 receiver than that other $5 receiver, but it's not, it's not how it goes. So I thought that analogy was good. Are the Niners trying to trade Brandon Aiyuk? Are you trying to sell your house? Well, I'm not, but if somebody calls and offers me, okay. I think I'll do that. That's a good analogy. Daniel, comment. There have been studies showing that humans read text in a negative way. That's why smiley faces are allowed in corporate emails. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I always think it's a little passive, it's not passive aggressive, but sometimes the smiley in a weird spot is like, you're kind of being a dick, but you can't, you gotta, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we take so many social cues when we're looking at each other and talking. You can see a face, you can hear a comment, and you're not bringing your own baggage to the text. You're just hearing what the person says. So I believe that. I also saw, my wife Alyssa was telling me today, she just saw they did like a 20-year study where it turns out all of the what do they call them? Like the, like natural vitamins, like no positive effect. Yeah, I'm not really a smiley face kind of guy. I would say that's accurate, but I like some emojis. Like the peace sign is supposed to be we're trying out a different one too. It's supposed to be like a foam finger, but with two fingers up. Comment: the salary cap isn't an abstract factor. It's a result of labor negotiations, which was conceded by the players in compensation for other elements of the process the fans resent. This sounds like a very smart comment that I'm not totally understanding. So let's just blame me. But it's not that. I guess to me, it's just simple as like we would rather act like the boss than the employee. So when we talk about sports, like we come at it from the boss's perspective. Everyone always gets so logical about why you signing with the rich guy, the employee of the. But just I want to manage my own team. I want to say what they should do, and if they don't do it, I want to be mad at them about it. Why is everyone's always trying to be so logical about this? The thing I've said for a long time when it comes to replay in sports, and it's only gotten more of a focus because of gambling. But the point of everything when it comes to sports, the original point is competition and entertainment. Well, let's focus on the entertainment part. Because the masses are the ones that are being entertained. The minority group, right? The athletes, there's far less of them. They're the ones competing. The rest of us are competing through them, but we're actually just being entertained. So 100 million people, 130 million people watch the Super Bowl. That's the majority. The minority is 190 people. No, sorry. The minority is 92 people compete in the Super Bowl plus coaching staffs, right? So it's 120 million people, majority, 92 people, the ones competing. So for the 120 million, the entertainment, everyone's always so obsessed with it has to be right. The call has to be right. The call has to be right. Even if it takes 5 minutes, the call has to be right. This is entertainment. Now I know I'm kind of stretching to an extreme on this take. I'm not suggesting we just accept all the wrong calls. I mean, now that we've got the K zone and we know what's right and what's wrong, and we got all these replays, it's like we have too much. Like it's in 4K, it's in super slow-mo. We can't have all of. I'm not saying we should just ignore it and then all of us sit at home knowing, man, they blew that call, but there's nothing they can do about it because they're not doing replay. So you have to have replay. But at some point, we go past the point where getting it right is worth making it less entertaining. And unfortunately, I think we've opened Pandora's box on that one. So I'm not in favor of I'm not in favor of wrestling, like artificial competition over real competition. I'm not in favor of that. I'm just saying, I think people look at sports and sometimes the whole thing is we have to get it right. But that's not what happens. Like nobody says at the end of a season, the best team didn't win, so it wasn't a legitimate season. Although it did happen one year in baseball. It doesn't matter who wins at the end, as long as somebody does win within the rules. Comment: the masses of men Lead lives of quiet desperation. Thoreau. That one I think I understand. I think I follow that one. Too smart for me. I'll read some Thoreau on this vacation. I'll be sitting outside the castle of Sintra reading my Thoreau on the train. Vitamin supplements. Yeah, that's the one. Vitamin supplements. They did like some 40-year study or something insane. Like 400,000 participants. They're like, oh yeah, your echinacea, is that might be a topical. That might not actually be a vitamin supplement. Your positive gut biomes. Question, guy, who's your favorite player on offense and defense? Current 49ers only. Well, choose. I gotta say, I like Dre Greenlaw. Favorite. Favorite's probably not the right word. Fungus fun. I don't know. Contra. That's in Portugal. Contra is beautiful. All right. Very good then. Okay, so what's coming up on this show? As I said, starting on Sunday, a series of shows over the next 2 weeks Sintra. Yeah, Sintra, thank you. A series of shows that I think you're going to really enjoy, so I hope you watch them. I hope if you're watching this, you subscribe, you like the video. Hopefully you'll share it with people, post it other places. Somebody sent me a couple months ago, a buddy of mine sent me a link to a very, very nice complimentary Reddit thread from some of you. So that was cool. It actually helped me get some business. So thank you very much. I mean that sincerely. Thank you. One thing I'm going to do, and I've done it already a little bit, but over the next few weeks, these interviews that are coming on, people that are coming on, I want to ask them at the end of the show for any recommendation at all that they have. And so I'll give you two right now myself. One, California. I've lived all over the country and the world. My dad was in the Air Force. I've been meaning to say this for a long time. Californians, the hell are all of you doing? Driving 65 miles an hour in the left lane. The Midwest knows the left lane is for passing. Move over. I think we need to spend some money on some signs that say slower traffic, move over. We're not teaching it in schools anymore. What's the world coming to? Here's the thing. If you are in the left lane and you hear honking, nobody honks on the highway except your boy. You see lights flashing. You're in the left lane. Move over, please. Now, a far less negative recommendation number 2. Yesterday, I bought cupcakes from Cupcakin Bake Shop. They got multiple Bay Area locations. Cupcakin, like N apostrophe. Fantastic. Also, baller move. Somebody this week, my wife's birthday, our friend Ashley is on vacation in Hawaii, but knew it was her birthday, had DoorDash deliver 4 pints of Humphrey Slocum ice cream. If you're in the world, wherever you are, you can get some Humphrey Slocum. They got one called Secret Breakfast. Okay. It's a bourbon and cornflake cookie ice cream. That's my recommendation. There you go. All right. I've got the presidential debate recorded on Telemundo, so I'm going to go watch it in Spanish. And Ty just asked a question: how fast are you supposed to drive in the left lane? Not the speed limit. Above it. Oh, wow. Somebody is an insider. Not 64 miles an hour in the left lane. I know that. Yeah, Ashley Adamson. I posted a clip from her podcast on the YouTube channel on Thursday. Her podcast is called Your Mom. She did a thing with Lisa McCaffrey. She always does. Go check it out. She is one of the best people on earth. She wrote a great piece in johncanzano.com the other day. Okay. Yeah, that's it here. So, if something happens while your boy is in Europe, like something really has to happen. Like really has to happen for me to pop up on this thing live 8 hours ahead. Portugal is the westernmost European city or country. Anyway, so I will I'll be pumping content. It's going to be here. Y'all should absolutely consume it. You're going to like it. Okay? You're going to like it. I'm telling you right now. Tell me if you don't, but you're going to like it. Go to heyguy.co in the meantime. heyguy.co. Send me some messages. I'll be getting them. And sign up. The plan is early August. I want to get these hats out. Okay. Supposed to get a couple more samples now. Hopefully there'll be a couple samples waiting here when I get home. And